fire, intrusion, and the list goes on, you have tools. Well, SDi is just another tool. But just as importantly, let's see what tools do. They're going to help you be more efficient. Tools help you do a better job. They're certainly more precise. I mean, I'm sure you have hammers. You don't have to use a hammer. You could use a stone, but a hammer is a lot more precise. Better productivity. And Gustavo, could you mute your mic, please?
Yeah, sorry about that.
More productivity. Saving time and money. So these are the things that you already know about tools, but I want you to continue to think about them as I'm presenting SDi. Now, fire alarm inspection is important. Question, why? Well, if you look at NFPA 72, if you look at Chapter 14, it tells you about all the things you should be inspecting and how often. There's a list there. Generally, we tend to speak about the smoke detectors, which should be tested annually. Now, we'll go on and tell you exactly what that test ensures, but why are we doing it? Number one, to make sure the equipment works. Has anybody had electronic equipment that does not work? I have, and I'm sure you have. So when we're talking about life safety, smoke detector working correctly is very important. At the end of the day, you're going to save lives. It's to protect property. It's to prevent damage. And all those things are valuable. So you may have heard names like SDi, Solo, No Climb, detector testers. It's all the same group. Whether they operate in Europe, where they began, whether they operate in the United States, serving the Caribbean and the Americas, it is the same company. And part of their job is to develop, listen to their audience, develop new tools to make you more efficient so that you get the job done quicker, which saves you money, saves the end user money, and you look more professional while you're doing it. So let's start with the basics. Many of you already know a product like this, Smoke Saver. So here is a UL listed synthetic smoke. The can itself comes with this telescoping funnel, and that helps to direct the smoke, number one. Number two, it helps make sure that the technician using the smoke does not get too close to the smoke detector. Why is that a problem? If you get too close to the smoke detector, if you put too much smoke in, that's not a good thing. So they want you to stay a little bit away. This telescoping funnel helps you shoot your air toward the smoke detector. It mixes it with air so that there's the right concentration. And as I already mentioned, it keeps you far enough away. It's a great product, does the job, easy to use. As you can see in the photo, this is perfect for the smoke detector that man has to get to. But sometimes the smoke detectors are farther away, or you want another product. We look at some of the other aerosols. You'll see the yellow can, which is called Centurion. The one on the bottom, A10, the big difference there is this is non-flammable. So there are certain environments where your customer needs you to have this kind of smoke. Products like C6, that happens to be carbon monoxide for your carbon monoxide detectors. And I should mention products like Blowout, which is basically compressed air, which is used to clean those smoke detectors. Now, you're seeing this device on the right. That device on the right is basically a head for dispensing the smoke. As you can see in the picture, basically you unscrew that bottom part, you'll put in the can. When I say you put in the can, you can put in The yellow one, you can put in the A10 or you can put in the C6. You cannot put in the blowout because of the way the can is made. You screw it back in, and now you'll put that over your detector, apply a little pressure. You've encapsulated that smoke detector in an enclosed space, so smoke or carbon monoxide does not go all over the place. It goes to your detector, which means you need less. You're going to use it with a telescoping pole, which we're going to talk about in a second. So that would be the next step up. Why is this important? As we'll see from the telescoping poles, you can reach a detector that's about 9 meters high. Obviously, that gets rid of ladders, scaffolding, the danger of going up on those ladders. But let's move on. Now, there are two of these kinds of devices, and I've put the model numbers there on the screen for you. I'm not going to say it out loud. You can take it down if it's interesting to you. One is bigger than the other. The one on the left, they made that one because there was a manufacturer years ago who made a very big smoke detector. And so this one will take care of that. The benefit is the same. Basically, you enclose that smoke detector so that the air currents that are up by your smoke detector don't blow the smoke all over the place. Make sure that the smoke gets to your detector. So the more common one is the one on the right. However, the one on the left is an option for you. Let's move on. So right now we've been looking at manual systems, whether we're applying smoke by hand, whether we're using those dispenser heads to make it easier. The next step up is going to be an intelligent smoke dispenser head. You can see the model there, the 365, and this is kind of interesting for several reasons. One, it doesn't use an aerosol can. And I mention aerosol cans because they're under pressure, international law considers them to be hazmat. As hazmat, it requires documentation, it requires special packaging to ship, to import. Sometimes you need special papers to import it. This guy uses a capsule. It's about the size of a cigarette lighter. You can see it on the right side. It's that blue colored little capsule there, or cartridge. And that basically is a liquid which we're going to turn into smoke. So here's a place where the technician does not really have to make a decision. He turns the unit on. He puts it on top of the smoke detector. At that point, the 365 knows it's on top of a smoke detector and starts emitting smoke. Now, the smoke from a cartridge is not as heavy, that's the word I'll use, as the one in the can. Once again, this is technology getting better and better. So I mention this because I know that sometimes technicians tend to overspray when they're using the can. I've even had dealers come up to me and say, Walter, great product, but every time I do a test, I have to clean the smoke detector afterwards. And I explained to him, that's because you're using it wrong. But with this one, since it's intelligent, it doesn't depend on the technician to put the right amount. It does it automatically. And when it reaches alarm, all the technician has to do is lower it for a second or two. An LED that's on the bottom will change color. He puts it back, and now a fan is going to clean that smoke detector. I should say it's going to remove the residual smoke. And that becomes important because otherwise the technician is waiting for the smoke to clear so he can move on to the next smoke detector. While he's waiting, that's time. Time is money. So we want to reduce costs. We don't want them to go up. There's an LED light, because sometimes those smoke detectors are installed in very dark places. It's just a convenience. And as you can see in the middle photo there, there's an adapter. So for you folks out there that are installing aspiration detectors like Extralis, for example, or other brands that exist there, here's a way for you to apply smoke, which is UL listed, very important. That's what NFPA calls for. They call for UL smoke. So when you use a punk, when you burn wire, things like that, I don't know if that necessarily complies with what NFPA looks for. But now you can measure the time it takes, the transport time from that last opening in the tubing, in the conduit, to your detector. And that's part of the process of making the test on an aspiration detector. So it's a time saver, it's certainly more exact, and it gets the job done. One more step. Now we have a unit called testifier. Still intelligent, still makes the decisions for the technician, still uses cartridges. But in this case, there's a cartridge of smoke and there's a cartridge of carbon monoxide. And it can also do the testing on heat detectors. So you can do the test on smoke, temperature, and carbon monoxide, either sequentially or all at the same time. There's a fan which also will get rid of residual smoke after you do that testing. And all these heads that we've seen, these dispenser heads, work with the telescoping poles. So if part of your inspection is multi-criteria, smoke, temperature, carbon monoxide, this would be the ideal head for you to use. There's videos online if you need to know more. We can get you that information. Last item, as far as a detector head goes, and this is new on the market. It's a testifier product. It's called XTR2. What's the difference? Number one, it's lighter, and that's important because if you're going to do the test on 200 detectors, that could get tiresome after a while. It will test the smoke and the temperature. The cartridge for the smoke is about 500 tests. So this will do it quickly. In a case like this, if you remember the first item I told you, you have to lower it and then you raise it so that it would get rid of any standing smoke so it doesn't re-alarm. This unit does it automatically. Once there's an alarm, it automatically goes into fan to get rid of that residual smoke. It also works with all the telescoping poles, but here's the major difference. Aside from it being quicker and lighter, it can also generate a report. So many times customers have asked, hey, this is great equipment. Does it give me a report? I mean, otherwise you have a checklist. The technician has a checklist. Yes, I did this. Yes, it worked fine. It's sort of like the honor system. This one does it for you. So it's basically, it syncs with the telephone of the technician, and at that point it sends that information up to the cloud. Who was the end user? What's the address? What time did he start? What was the result of each test? He also has the ability to input other information. Fire alarm exit door is blocked by cartons, for example. Fire hydrant is missing. At the end of his inspection, he gets the owner to sign off on his phone, and that is also in the cloud. And at that point, you, owner of the company, go to the cloud, get the report, make sure your logo is on there, and send it off to the people so they can see what was done, what was the result, what has to be replaced, if anything. More professional, quicker, saving you money. Equipment, like most tools, pay for themselves. Okay, I've been doing a lot of talking here. Is there any questions yet? Excuse me, that I should know about? If so, please, put them in the chat. I don't see a chat window, but I'm sure somebody sees one. Okay, let's talk about the telescoping poles. So we have different sets with different models, and this can be confusing. So hopefully this one screen is going to make it a little bit clearer. You need to apply or supply some information to us. Number one, how high do you typically have to reach? Not everybody needs to go 9 meters. Obviously, there's different sets for these. But let's look at the benefit, because for me, this part is key. You're going to eliminate the need for ladders. Now, there's the ladder. There's the person who goes up the ladder. There's the people who watch the person go up the ladder to make sure that he falls. And then there's the person who catches the person when he does fall off the ladder. No, I'm just kidding. There's a danger to going up on heights. And when you don't have the right ladder, well, you have to transport or rent that ladder. Once again, it's money. And you have to move that ladder from room to room, hoping that you're not going to knock some furniture or nick a wall or a doorway. Scaffolding, even more. The time to put it up, the time to take it down, the supervision, the permits. All this is money. All this is time. All this is a bother for the end user. Yeah, he doesn't really want to have to get an inspection, but you and I know that it's the right thing to do. So if you can make it painless, that's going to be important for him. At the end of the day, it's another tool that pays for itself. And after it pays for itself, it puts more money in your pocket. So there's 3 kits. Basically, each kit, and you can buy everything separately, consists of a base unit and up to 3 extensions. So if I look at the 100, which is the original unit, the base unit 100 with its extensions can go up to 9 meters. The 108 with its 3 extensions can help you reach detectors up to 7 meters. And the 110 with its extensions can go up to 4.5 meters. That's the unit many times we'll see in a backpack. So basically you can give your technician a backpack so he has his telescoping poles, his testing head, his cartridges, and a unit for removing and replacing any detectors if they have to be cleaned. Let's go on to that. This is the Solo 200. Now, those 2 triangles on the side are adjustable so that you can fit, I'm going to say, almost any detector on the market. Yes, there's a couple out there that I know of where this unit is not going to help you. I mean, I think it was Bosch. I'm not sure. There was a manufacturer years ago made a detector which was recessed. Well, if it's recessed, there's nothing for me to grab hold on. So this unit is not going to work. And Edwards, some years ago, made a series called ST, which had a little button on the side which you had to push in. That's another one where this head is not going to work. But as you can see, On the right-hand side, you adjust it to the diameter you need, and based on that, you can now lower those detectors up to 9 meters, clean them with that product blowout that I mentioned, the compressed air, put it back up, because when you get to a job, if you have a smart panel, your smart panel already tells you what detectors are dirty. So you don't want to waste your time lowering a clean detector. Why are you going to clean something that's clean? You want to clean what's dirty. Now, as we look at detectors, there's always detectors that are difficult to access. Sometimes they're in lobbies, very high up. You need expensive equipment to get up there. Sometimes it's dangerous because there's girders, there's no way to access it. Could be that smoke detector that's in an elevator shaft. It's a problem. And many times when it is a problem, we tend not to do the inspection. We tend not to do the testing. Why? Because it's costly, it's hard to get to, it's a lot of time, it's dangerous. And yet, those are probably the most important detectors you have out there because nobody sees them. They're out there doing the job electronically, so you better make sure that they're working correctly. So, here's something called Scorpion. How does it work? Well, number one, there's a Scorpion for photoelectric detectors, as you can see, the white one. And there's Scorpion for aspiration detectors, like SDi, Australis. Essentially, Scorpion installs next to the detector. You're going to leave it there. It has a cartridge in it, and that cartridge is good for about 240 tests. And one test a year, that's longer than the useful life or the recommended life of a detector. It becomes key because even though that detector maybe was on top of a production line which you had to close down in order to do your inspection, and owners are not happy with that, you put it up one time, now you're going to cable it. And you can cable up to 100 meters away. And where are you going to cable it? To a place that's easy to get to, that's safe to get to. It's not a problem. So here's a great example of one that's in an elevator shaft. Because yeah, those elevator shafts are supposed to have smoke detectors. Now to get to it, you need the elevator operator, you have to stop traffic, you have to get on top of the car. It's kind of dangerous. But if you get up there, put one in, and now you can cable it up to 100 meters. On the left side in the diagram, you can see there's these individual heads. So technician arrives, he connects to this access point, I'm going to call it. At that point, he's going to power up the unit because he has a battery. And now he can make the smoke come out, do his test, and after that, there's a fan so he can get rid of the residual smoke so it doesn't keep on alarming. And he's done all of that from a nice, safe position, whether it's a corridor, an equipment room, a control room, but he didn't have to get on top of that elevator car, didn't have to wait for access into the server room, because the IT guy doesn't really want to waste his time taking you around, but he has to. President's office, military base, the list goes on. Same thing applies if you're talking about SDi or Australis. Put the unit, cable it to an easy to access place, and you have an option. If there's only one unit, well, then you just get one, like on the left, a place where you're going to plug in and do your test. But there's also a mini console. And that mini console can handle up to 8 Scorpions, if that were the case. Is this an everyday product? Nah, probably not. But For some of your customers, it's going to be a very important product. So I just want you to have that trick up your sleeve so that you know it's available. So you can do the correct testing on those hard-to-reach detectors. That's it for SDI. I'm going to move on to STI. Any questions before I move on? I'm going to assume that's a no. You're welcome to ask questions at any time. But let's talk about STI, safety technology. If I sum it up, safety technology. Go ahead.
We don't have any questions at the moment, but if we invite to all the people, if they want to ask something, just please feel free to ask anything. Walter is going to be more than happy to help you in anything that you need.
Thank you. Perfect. So if I have to sum up what safety technology does, it protects the things that protect you. There are manufacturers that have super duper technology, but their equipment could be fragile. It can get damaged because they're focused on technology, not on protecting their equipment. So if I give you a little brief history about STI, years ago, a school approached a dealer because they were having problems with false alarms in schools. Students would pull that fire alarm manual station, get out of class. All the school had to empty, but it became such a problem that the fire department wouldn't go to the school anymore. So the school approached an integrator, said, we need a solution, and he developed what we know as STI, the stopper. Well, over the years it has changed, but one thing has not changed. It eliminates false alarms. And that is a costly operation. So many times when we talk about pull stations, people will see the stopper, like the ones on your screen. They'll say, oh yeah, it's for protecting a pull station. And the answer is no, it's not for protecting a pull station. It's for eliminating false alarms. That's costly. Do you need them on every single detector, pull station? Of course not. The president's office probably doesn't need one. But you'll see them in airports, any place that the public goes, in hotels, because one false alarm can cost them a lot of business. Now, let me give you a little evolution. Left-hand side, I call it the 1000 series because it has model numbers like the 1100, the 1200, and the list goes on. That was the first one that came out. They're nice units. You see a little wire hanging down there. The way that one works is when you pull that cover, the cover falls off, but it hangs there by the wire. Now those units are nice. They come with or without a siren. They have the message so that people know when and how to use the product. You'll see a little sort of black square or rectangle in the back, and that's because this one that they're using is for outdoor use. But as time went on, they developed two new series. The 13,000 series, I'm not going to give you all the models, and the 14,000 series. The big difference? Low profile. It's not as big, it's smaller. And yet, for you folks that sell Honeywell, Notifier, that BG10, that big pull station, it fits fine in these 13,000s and 14,000s. Instead of that wire, it's got what they call a piano hinge on the top. It's easy to open up. They did that for the ADA, which may not apply in your region, but it makes it easier for people to access that detector. Once again, comes with or without a siren. If we're stopping a false alarm, My suggestion is let's get the siren, because the moment they pick that up, you hear 105 decibel go beep, 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 beep. That's not usually fire alarm. That's a local battery controlled alarm, just to warn people that they're about to do something serious. On the right, the 14,000 series, same thing. It gives the impression of even lower profile because of that flat front. And what I like about this, when it does have the siren, it also flashes. So it's an audio visual alert. How does that help us? For the most part, people that pull fire alarm do not want to be detected. So if we can alert so that people around them see it, that's important. Something that probably doesn't matter to you, I'll mention it, that the 13,000 and 14,000 series is less expensive than the 1,000. And yet, people continue to buy the 1,000. I don't have a problem with it, but you may want to look into those other models. I mentioned that we protect the things that protect you. I mean, sometimes you're putting equipment, strobes, in gymnasiums, in places where there is a little bit of vandalism or workers are not cautious. Polycarbonate is the same material that's used on motorcycle helmets. So it's strong, it's resistant, and in our case, it's transparent because we want to see what's behind it. Did you know that all equipment that you use as an accessory for fire equipment needs to be UL? And to pass UL, you have to make sure that the light that comes from that strobe is getting through. Well, STI does that. All their equipment is UL. So that speaks very well about them. And it's resistant because it's not plastic, it's not acrylic, it's polycarbonate. You know, when you're on a job, part of the fire system is you're looking at emergency exits. And we've all heard horrible stories of a factory or a disco or a casino where the owner decided to lock the door from the outside with a chain and padlock. And when there was a fire, nobody could get out. Well, no longer becomes an emergency exit, no longer becomes an exit. But here's a good way to control traffic. This unit installs right on the door. It operates with a 9-volt battery. It can give you 105 dB of warning. There's a message on it to let people know that the door is alarmed. And the moment they open it up, that door will make a sound. So people who work will know, time to go investigate. The job there is to control traffic, minimize people's unauthorized use of doors, of leaving them open. A back door left open is a perfect opportunity to steal equipment, to steal goods from the owner. They make a similar unit with a different function, as you can see, with the fire extinguisher there, where you wrap a wire around the fire extinguisher, stick it in the STI unit, and if somebody goes to take that fire extinguisher, they can. No problem, they can take it. Because if there's a fire, we want them to take it. We want them to use it. But the moment they do, 105 dB goes off, indicating to management, hey, somebody took that fire detector and fire extinguisher, and they probably want to know why. Do you need it for every single one? No, but you and your customer knows which ones are subject to getting misplaced. I'll say it like that. Once again, STI is accessories. And accessories actually happen to be an important part of the sale. If I ask you who your most important customer is, I hope you're going to give me the answer that I give to people. The customer is standing right in front of me. That's my most important customer, because there's things he needs he doesn't know he needs. And all we have to do is mention them. Explain what it does. 10 words or less. If it's right for him, he'll say yes. This is not a major purchase, but it's good for your margin and it's good for his protection. So here's an item you can apply in many different ways. We're going to call it a microcontroller because it's a strobe, gives you a visual notification. It's also a siren. There's 30 different tones there, and you can choose which one you want. So it has an audio and a visual alert. It has an input. Let's call that input a zone. It takes a contact closure. Whether it's a button, whether it's a switch, it doesn't matter. Contact closure. And at that point, since there's two independent timers, one for the strobe, one for the siren, an alarm will go off. And you can tell part of it to turn off while the other one continues. So a nice way to protect windows, doors. Some of the cabinets we sell use these. Because if somebody's going to take a defibrillator, you probably want to know, because that's a bigger problem there. Because if somebody needs a defibrillator, you probably also want to call an ambulance. Now, this one operates on 12 volts, great. 24 volts, great. Many people like it because it operates on a 9-volt battery. So you can very simply, without the power supply, without the wiring, just put the unit, a button, you have an alarm. The unit, a contact, a switch, you have an alarm. And my favorite is the first one, the 5500. Why? Because it's IP65. You can put it outside. So it's inexpensive, super versatile, and it gets the job done. You know, hopefully you folks are already using our buttons. Okay, so on these buttons, I put the buttons in Spanish. Sorry about that. But we have them in English, of course. Color. I have 6 different colors. Color is what people remember first. That's going to be important. It's made from polycarbonate. I already explained. Same material as a motorcycle helmet. Message. We have a library of different messages that you can choose from. And if you don't find the message you need, you can make your own message. And all you need to do is order one piece, and we can do that message for you. The button has different functionality. It could be momentary. It could be like a turn it to reset. It could be a key to reset. So there's flexibility in that as well. You can get it with, without a cover to prevent accidental activation. It happens all the time. And these buttons can be used for a myriad of uses. It's an accessory. It makes life easier, and it's good for your margin. STI is simply good business, so I want you to remember that. Sometimes we don't think about wire cages and the benefits they have. We talked about the polycarbonate covers, and many of them are completely sealed, so you cannot use those with sound. But you can use something like a wired cage. Whether you're protecting a smoke detector, all of them? Of course not. But maybe the ones in the gymnasium, in the boys' locker room, and I don't know where. You can protect the camera, because sometimes the camera, even though they're called anti-vandalism, you need a little extra protection. These wire cages are 9-gauge wire, which is covered with like a polyester to avoid that rust and that horrible look that they get. So it's an option. If your customer has a problem, you now have a solution. Did I mention they were UL listed? They're UL listed. We have NEMA 4 cabinets. Because sometimes you're putting equipment outside, and if we're talking Caribbean, I'm sorry, that environment will rot away almost anything within a year. All those metals, stainless steel, the list goes on. It's a very tough environment. So polycarbonate, NEMA 4X, can be a solution for you. Whether you need a clear window because you need to see the electronics, or an opaque window because you want them hidden. Whether you want them with a power strip, whether you need them with a ventilator, a fan, or even AC. Some climates, some equipment requires that. We have all the accessories that you're going to need for that, meaning the back plate for mounting, the thermostats for control, and a variety of sizes. These cabinets come in either polycarbonate, we've already spoken about that, or fiberglass. It's an accessory that can make the difference. It gives your installation a more professional look. Your installation is your calling card. You leave it at every job you do. So sometimes you'll want to protect that equipment. Put your best foot forward, leave your calling card. STI has about, I'm going to guess, 5,000 different products. And no, I'm not going to talk about all 5,000. But please take a look at the site. Please speak to your representative from Full Protection or reach out to me, because we can help you figure out if we have the solution for you in STI or the tool you need from SDi. Don't miss out on an opportunity to include these in your offer. STI and SDi save you money, they make you money.